Hello everybody, so as I said in the last one, we're going to be covering the legal implications with graphic design. So we're going to be talking about the basic things such as, sorry I forgot to switch to the Polaroid camera once again, but we're going to be talking about copyright, royalties, we're also going to look at, I'm getting confused by myself here, we're also going to look at licenses, that's the one I was trying to remember the name of, and also how you can verify that a thing is yours. So not how you can verify it, that's the wrong way of saying it. How you can say it's your thing, or how you can know it's someone else's thing. It's the best way I can explain it. I can't remember the actual term. It's on here, don't worry about it, we'll get there when we get there. So, we're going to talk about copyright first. This term gets thrown around a lot. You see at the bottom of websites, it will say copyright 2019 of this person or this company. It will have it in software, in the about section. It will have it on, I believe books even have it, because technically they're an art form, aren't they? So I believe they have it as well, copyright of this person, this date to this date. The way you write copyright like that, that's all down to a license normally, or you can just write copyright thing, your name, because it is, the way copyright works is you get given it straight away. It's not like a patent where you have to go register it and then wait and then you'll find out and maybe even pay a bit of money. A copyright, you have copyright over a piece of art that you create as soon as you create it. It doesn't matter if it's software, so it doesn't matter if you're a programmer, it doesn't matter if you're a graphic designer, it doesn't matter if you're a book writer, you have copyright over the thing that you're creating straight away as soon as you create it. So, because it's your work, and you don't have to ask for these things, you just have them right away. So, copyright grants you the ability to sue someone if they were to copy your work without following a certain agreement you have, or a contract, or be the best way to put it, or a certain license that you may add to it, maybe one of the Creative Commons licenses in the case of graphic design. And if they don't abide by the rules or the things that you put in place, you have the ability to copyright claim them, as they will call it. So, copyright, the main things which copyright encompasses is the fact that people can't copy your work without following a certain contract, or getting a contract, or paying a royalty, or any of these sorts of formats. We'll explain those a bit more in a minute. And that an artwork is your piece of art. You made it. You have the rights to it. So you have the copyright to your piece of art. So we're going to cut this down into three major things, and the first one is going to be royalties. I named this one royalty-free because I want to talk about royalty-free things mainly, but we're also going to talk about what royalty is as a part of that. So firstly, a royalty is when someone pays an amount of money to be able to use an image. It may be for one time, they may have access to it forever, for a certain amount of uses. Normally it's one time or forever, they're normally what you'll go for, but a royalty in that case means they're paying money to use your thing, or you're paying money to use their thing. So if something's royalty free, that means you don't have to pay any money to use it. And you'll see websites such as Unsplash, and other websites as well. Sorry about that, I think it might have made a high pitch noise there. And then you have other websites such as Pexels. These websites have royalty-free images where people have said, you can use my image, you can give me attribution if you want to, we'll get onto attribution with licenses, but you don't have to pay a royalty. I don't want a royalty, I feel you should just be able to use this. So this is what the term royalty is, and when we would use royalty-free, we would mean you can use the image without paying the royalty. So for licenses, so you may notice I'm using the same backgrounds as the last video, just I really like these backgrounds, so I'm going to keep them for you guys. But licenses, what a license is normally you'll have it in a text document, it'll be in caps with the word license, and it may have .txt at the end or .md, or it might just be licensed with nothing at the end. But when you open it, it will have text, or even when you look on the website, they may have a license section where you can read their terms and conditions, and they will generally put their license in there. So what a license does is it tells you what you can and can't do with a certain thing. So with the Creative Commons licenses, these are for pieces of art in the sense of graphics design or sketches or drawn art, I'm going to say, as the word to encompass all of these. But the Creative Commons licenses is probably going to be the sort of ones you're going to be using. And you have different Creative Commons licenses. You have the Creative Commons, you have the CC0, Creative Commons 0, you've got Creative Commons Share Alike, they're two of the most common ones. They have different things, so when you read the license, remember to read all of the license, try and understand what everything is. And that license will tell you what you can and can't do. If you can copy a piece of art, if you have to give attribution, if you have to use the same license when you copy that art, if you can put a different license on it, if you can use it commercially, if you can only use it for personal reasons, so on and so forth. If it comes with a warranty, that's normally though for things like software. Maybe some of the Creative Commons licenses include this. I would really doubt that, but maybe. Maybe they do, because it's another piece of art. You never know. But these are what licenses do. So having a license on your piece of art can give people a bit more information into what you're allowing, what you're disallowing. You can even write your own licenses. There's no reason to have to use a certain license, but the reason you generally will is because it's pre-written, has all the lingo in it, you don't have to worry about trying to do all that fancy stuff yourself, and it looks professional using a license that's widely known, because people may not even have to read the license, they may go, oh, that's CC0, I can use it for this reason, I can't use it like this. Oh, that's Share Alike, I can use it like this, I can't use it like this. That is, I can't think of another one. That's CC1, there you go. It's just one number up, but still counts. But having a license that's well known can make it much easier for people, so they may not have to look at these sort of things. So, we're going to move on to not the graphics tablet this time, but identifying ownership. That was the phrase I was trying to find earlier. But identifying ownership is a difficult thing to do with artwork, especially. And the reason is, unless you can prove it by any other means that you find, it's really difficult to do. Keeping a journal of art pieces you've made and how you got the ideas, when you got the ideas and everything like that, anybody can do that. Anybody can write down on a piece of paper, oh, I thought of this. So that's not one way you can do it, really. Another way that you might think of is, oh, I'll add a digital signature, where I'll put my signature in the image. And by in the image, I mean in the metadata, so the things in the background, stuff that you can't see. This does work a lot of the time, however, that can also be faked, it can be changed, it can be deleted. So it's difficult to find ownership that way. Normally when you look on things like stock sites, such as the Adobe stock thing they have, and you look on those, they have watermarks all across the image, so it's pretty much unusable unless you pay a royalty, things like this. And if someone wants to try and copy that and say it was theirs, you then have a place where you can go and go, oh, I made this, I did this thing, it's on this store somewhere. Or if you're using a service like GitHub, where it has because people do store images on GitHub, believe it or not, or Google Drive, I'll have a date when it was uploaded. If your date is lower than the other person's date, if you made it before the other person in that case, or uploaded it, then, or if you're unlucky but you did make it but you uploaded it after, then that could be another way to help say, oh, I made this. It won't prove you made it, but it's a good way of identifying ownership. And when trying to find someone else's ownership of a thing, if you've got two people arguing over who owns it, have a look at these different things. Have a look at digital signatures. Have a look and see if there's a watermark on the image. People write signatures in just slightly different brightnesses, things like that. Things you would never think about, people do to show that it's their image. Have a look for these different things. Have a look at the different techniques you can use and other people can use to say that they own something. Okay. So, now that we've done that, oh sorry, you can see my mouse and everything. But now that we've done that, that's the end of everything. That was the end of the slides. I didn't include anything else. Oh, but this is all we had to cover anyway. But I hope you understand a little bit more and know what to research and know a bit more term-wise what these different things mean. Otherwise, if you didn't know what these meant before, hopefully you have a little bit more of an understanding and how they're used, when they're used, why they're used, and what they're used for. Like most things, always research. Have fun researching, because there is a lot involved. Have a look at your countries, or your states, or your provinces, or your councils, different laws on copyright, because they may differ. If you're using someone else's thing, see how yours and their country's copyrights differ, and how that might affect things. If someone else is using yours, see how their one might look before you try and sue them because it's different in your law. They might be using it according to their law, but against your law it's wrong. So always have a look. People might not be doing it for the wrong reasons. So always research. Always make sure you know exactly what you're working with. So I hope you found this useful. If you did, then I'm glad I could help you with something. There may be a next few videos, maybe not on graphics, but be prepared, they might be coming out soon.